All right, let's talk about AI search. We're going to cut through all the jargon and get right to the heart of what makes most AI tools actually work or fail. It all comes down to search. And believe me, the way most people are doing it, it's got a huge flaw.
I mean, look at all this stuff. Retrieval augmented generation, vector databases, context windows. It's a nonstop storm of buzzwords, right? You feel like you just figured one out and boom, a new one comes along. But here's the secret, the thing that ties it all together. A lot of these amazing AI apps live or die by one simple thing: how good they are at searching.
Okay, so let's back up for a second. Why do these super smart large language models, these LLMs, even need to search for anything in the first place? I mean, aren't they supposed to know everything? Well, not exactly. The answer really gets into their biggest limitations.
See, every single LLM has something called a knowledge cutoff date. Think of it like a born-on date for its brain. All its training data is basically frozen at that moment in time. So if you ask it what happened yesterday or, who won the game last night, it has absolutely no idea. It's totally in the dark.
And it's not just about recent news. That knowledge gap is personal. The model doesn't know about your private data, and it definitely hasn't read your company's internal handbook. So let's say you want to ask your company's chatbot about the PTO policy. The AI can't just guess. It needs a way to search that specific document, not the whole internet. And that's exactly why search is so critical.
So to plug this knowledge gap, the entire AI world got super excited about this one powerful new tool. It felt like the perfect solution, the magic bullet for everything. It's called vector search. So how does this thing actually work? Well, it's pretty cool. You ask a question, right? Like, who won the 2024 NBA Finals? The system takes that question and translates it into a bunch of numbers. That's the vector. This vector isn't about the words, it's about the meaning. Then it zips through a database looking for other documents whose vectors are a close match, meaning they're semantically similar. It grabs that document, hands it to the LLM, and the LLM spits out your answer. Sounds pretty straightforward, right?
And for those kinds of general questions, it worked really well. So well, in fact, that the industry just went all in. I mean, e-commerce sites, coding tools, customer support bots, you name it, they slapped vector search on it. The thinking was pretty simple. Hey, semantic search works sometimes, so it must work all the time.
But fast forward a couple of years, after tons of real-world use, this uncomfortable truth started bubbling up. It turns out vector search isn't quite the magic bullet everyone hoped it would be.
And this right here is the absolute heart of the problem. We made a huge mistake. We assumed that being similar in meaning is the same thing as being relevant to what the user actually needs, and they are not the same thing. Let me give you a perfect, concrete example of where this all falls apart. Let's say you're searching your company's inventory for a specific product, SKU number A12345. A vector search looks at that and might think, SKU A12346 is numerically and textually very close. It's semantically similar. So it gives you that one instead. But for you, the user, that's not just wrong, it's completely useless. Close enough is a total failure here.
And this isn't just some weird e-commerce problem. It happens everywhere. The precision is critical. We're talking part numbers for machinery, specific function names when you're coding, even searching for an exact song title. In all these situations, you don't want something like what you asked for. You need the exact match, period.
Okay, so if vector search isn't the one-size-fits-all answer, then what is? Well, the thinking is shifting. We're moving away from looking for that one magic bullet and starting to think more about building a whole toolkit.
And I love this analogy. It's perfect. Think about it. You wouldn't try to fix everything in your house with just a hammer, right? Sometimes you need a screwdriver. Sometimes you need a wrench. Search is exactly the same. Vector search is your powerful hammer, for sure. But sometimes you need the delicate precision of a screwdriver, which in this world is something more like traditional keyword matching.
This smarter, more modern solution has a name: hybrid search. And the idea is actually pretty simple. You just use multiple strategies at the same time. You run your keyword search, your vector search, whatever you've got, then you take all those results, throw them into a pile, and use a really smart re-ranking system to figure out which one is the actual best answer and push it right to the top.
And look, this isn't just some academic theory. Big, leading companies are already using this toolkit approach in the real world, and the results are pretty incredible. Let's take a look at our first case study, Cursor. It's an AI code editor the developers absolutely love.
Now, when Cursor first came out, it was all in on vector search, and honestly, it was kind of a pain to use. Developers had to manually tag every file with an @ symbol just to point the AI in the right direction. It was clunky, but then they made a big switch. For finding the right code to use as context, they went back to old-school keyword search, what we call lexical search, and the result, night and day. The AI now finds the right files automatically and accurately. The user experience is just so much better.
Okay, but this isn't just for specialized developer tools, right? Let's go big. Let's look at one of the biggest retailers on the planet, Walmart.
So, for their massive e-commerce site, Walmart rolled out a hybrid search system. They combined their traditional search index with the newer vector-based stuff. And what happened? They saw a huge improvement in finding those really specific, long, detailed product searches with the pros called tail queries. And they did it all while keeping the search speed super fast.
Okay, so let's bring this all home. What's the takeaway for you? We can actually boil this all down into a simple, practical playbook for building better, smarter AI systems. Now, the most important thing to remember is this. We don't have to throw vectors away. Not at all. We just have to be smarter about how we use them. The key is to use them where they really shine, like understanding the general vibe or intent of a question, and then pair them with other techniques for the stuff they're not so good at.
So here it is, your cheat sheet. It's pretty simple. When you're dealing with things like SKUs, part numbers, function names, anything that needs to be precise, you go with exact matching. When specific keywords or phrases really matter, use full-text search. And when it's all about the user's overall intent and meaning, that's where vector search is your hero. And the final, golden rule, after you've combined all those results, you always use a re-ranker to sift through them and pop the absolute best one right on top. At the end of the day, this is the whole point. The goal is to build AI systems that get what a user actually wants, not just what looks similar. That's the difference between a cool tech demo and a tool that people will actually use and love every single day. It's a huge leap.
So I'll just leave you with this one question to chew on, whether you're building AI or just using it. Is the system you're working with finding what's just similar, or is it actually smart enough to find what's truly relevant? Because the answer to that one question, well, it makes all the difference in the world. Thanks for tuning in.